Hey everybody, this is Joel over here at staticatx.com. So this last weekend was the Austin Record Convention, and I want to do a little bit of a recap of how everything went. Um, just for some information, I've been doing selling at the record convention, I think 3 or 4 years, maybe 4 years. I'm a really bad sense of time, but not super long, maybe four, maybe five, maybe. I forget. But anyway, somewhere in that around there, how many years I've been doing it. This year, I had 3 tables. I brought exclusively used records. One of the things that I've done is I've tried different things, different strategies each year. Um, just to see how things go and gather information is kind of the thing that I'm interested in. So, in the last year, I did 4 tables and I did exclusively new releases with a few, maybe a few used things thrown in there. And then, but this year is 3 tables of exclusively used. I would say probably at least 75% of what I had was common or common ish, and then 25%, a little bit more on the uncommon side of things. Um, Overall, I thought the convention really went really well. I had the normal amount of sales. There was a lot of people. There were some sellers that I've seen in past years that were not there. Quite, a handful of them, and they were all from out of state. And I'm thinking the state sales tax ID requirement as tripped some people up and made it so that they're unable to come. Um, so that was unfortunate, but there were a lot of sellers there. Um, Early on, I did, you noticed the normal amount of people, kind of with some overpriced or really high priced records. But there were actually several tables with really reasonable numbers. Even some that later on, like I think on the last day, one of the tables near me was doing 50. I was doing 50% off as well, but they were doing 50% off. But their normal prices without the 50% off were totally fair. Um, Other tables, not so much, right? I mean, there definitely are a lot of people that had stuff extremely highly priced. Um, One of the records I saw a lot of everyone kind of using to gauge was a lot of people had Flipper's generic album. I don't know if it's because it's been reissued recently, but there are a lot of originals there, and we saw them priced anywhere from like $100 all the way up to like $350, kind of wide ranging. Um, but I think that's and there was a lot of conversation about the prices, and it's some of it is understandable, right? The economy the way that it is, it's expensive to sell at the convention. Um, and so people and you know, it just is what it is, right? It's hard to judge people. The older that you get, the more you kind of your expectations are like things that you've seen in the past, and sometimes it's hard to understand how things are today. But I also think at the same time, some people could lower their prices just a little bit with some of the stuff, but it kind of is what it is. Um, uh, but overall, it's really good. I actually found I heard few people talk about the convention was light on some rare records or whatever. I'm not really sure how people judged it, but for the kind of music that I like, I found plenty of stuff. In fact, there was one seller there that I'll talk about here in a bit that had insane stuff that I've never seen at the convention. Um, and so that to me, like I bought more at this convention than I have since the very first time I ever went. So, and I'm going to show off everything that I bought here in a minute. Um, so yeah, but overall, I mean, I had a really good time. Um, there's some things I'll have to think about. I keep experimenting, like I said, with different things. So I may change what I do next time. I don't know if that means I'll go to 2 tables or if I just bring a different composition. I definitely made a profit even after spending as much money as I did. I still made a profit, so that's good. But a lot of it was just it's volume. You know, you have to have a lot of stuff that people want to buy. I didn't have anything that was super expensive. I actually sold some stuff off the wall this year, which I don't think I think definitely this time was my best wall experience. You know, in the past I've had stuff on the wall and it didn't really sell very well. I sold the Agent Orange OG that I had. I sold what else did I sell? I don't know. I sold a bunch of stuff off the wall. So that I was very thankful for that. I did do a massive sale on the last day, which I don't normally. I slashed everything 50%. I started out in the morning. I was at 25%, and then I about halfway through I went to 50%, and I made some sales off the 50%. A lot of times it was people that were going to resell, but not all necessarily. Um, and I'm glad that I did the sale. I definitely had. I don't think it's a good idea just to do it with just anything, but the stuff that I had up for that I had 50% off was stuff that I had had for a little bit. It had everyone in the store had seen it. Some of it I may have even had last convention. So like I had it for a while. I wanted to change it over. So I sold some stuff for some really good prices, and but I made some people happy. So let's talk a little bit about what I got. Um, like I said, like one of the things that I do, I always go to the convention with a couple of things and you know, one or more records that I really really want that I want to look for. And then there's some super high end graily type things that I don't think anyone's gonna bring, that I just keep in my back pocket, like, you know, that I just, you know, shoot for, and then inevitably no one ever has them. But you know, one of the reasons why I think walls or any kind of displays, like some people put records up in the back of a case like this, they put one on its side to kind of show it off, and that's really important because the first story I'm going to tell you about is a seller that I came across. He had one table, he only had a couple boxes out, and but on display on one of his he didn't have a wall, but on display on one of his boxes was a Pan Cow record. And Pan Cow is like an industrial band. I think I forget where they're from. But I see that and it tells me like, okay, I'm gonna go look at that seller, because like if you're displaying Pan Cow, you're gonna have some other stuff that I like, most likely. And what is the very first thing that I see? I look in his bin. I flip. I think it was right in the front. Actually, it was. There was this. Let me get a really good shot of this here, and you'll notice this name right here, or it's over here on this side, right there. This is Zoviet France. This is one of those high end Grail type of artists that I will buy if I ever see. You never see. This is the first time I've seen any Zoviet France at the convention, especially stuff like this. I don't think I've seen any. I'm gonna stick with that. But I see this and I'm just like, ooh, like instantly I'm like, oh, what, my interest is peaked, right? So they had this one. So I'm gonna go through what I have. I'm not gonna do them. It'd probably be better if I did them in an order, but I'm gonna do them in order that I have them in here in the box. So this is it's called Digilogue, and it's there. It came out in 1996. It's on. It's the think the only Soviet France, or one of the few that was on Soleil Moon, like Legendary Pink Dots and whatnot. Came out in '96. It's I've never seen it before, at least not since I was a teenager, if I did. Um, but yeah, this is really good. Then I look behind that one, and what do I see right here? This is a flock of rotations, Soviet France. You show it over here on this side. This is their 1987 album on Red Rhino. Red Rhino was their label for a long time. Get a close up here. And this is the OG. What they I mean, it could only be an OG. They didn't vinyl. This is one of the ones that Vinyl on Demand reissued, but this is the OG on Red Rhino from 1987. And I do have notes over here. That's why I'm looking over here. It's not. I don't have all this stuff memorized. This one right behind it, Misfits, Looney Tunes, and Squalid Criminals. This was their like fifth or sixth album. Get a nice close up look at this. This also is the OG on Red Rhino from 1986. This was reissued later by Vinyl on Demand, but this is the OG. I should probably take them out. This is in a really super thin paper sleeve. So I did take them out and I put them back in, and I'm probably going to take them out again and not put them back in. There is an inner sleeve. I'm not going to take them. Maybe I'll do a later video if there's interest. You can put it in the comments if you actually want me to take these apart again and you can actually see them. Zovia France was one of those groups that quite often had creative packaging or different packaging. It wasn't always just like a regular sleeve. Okay, this next one. Let me remind myself here because I think it's this one, but I want to make sure. This one was a single. Yeah. Hold on a second. Yeah, so this right here, this is aluminum foil, or what feels like aluminum foil. Some artwork on here. This is really all it was. There was a this is the inner sleeve here. This is called Norsh. This is an EP that came out in '83. This is the original. I mean, this one's never been reissued. So this is the OG, the one and only release for this. And given that this was '73, this was some of the very earliest work that they did. And by the way, all the vinyl is in super good condition. One of them that I'll show later has some spots on it. I haven't had a chance to run it through the cleaner, but everything else looked almost unplayed, which it doesn't really surprise me. So the kind of everyone that I've ever known that collects Zovia France takes super good care of their records. This one right here is, I think this is the very first single or the first EP they did. Zovia France. It was self-titled on from 1982. It's in a burlap sack basically. They put it in, and then it just had the record. Or no, there is an insert. There's an insert. I'm not going to get it out right now. But yeah, it's like in a burlap sack. It says Zovia France. So the very first EP they ever did, 1982, in Red Rhino. Before I showed that one, I'm going to show this one. So this one, extremely cool. Some of you may know this one. This is, I'm gonna mess up the pronunciation. It's Monomichi. Monomichi. This is their second album. It came in these. It's like a wooden block, in between two wooden blocks, and I don't know if this is originally what they came in, but there's like these super like. They look like Ziploc bags, but they say anti-static record protector. I don't know if someone else put them in these or if that's how the album came, but those were in there. So that's their second album, Monomichi. And then this one right here. This is their fourth album. Yeah, fourth album. This is Popular Soviet Songs and Youth Music. This is the Vinyl on Demand reissue that came out in, I think, 2019, something like that. but this is the reissue. And then there was this one. I don't have it in the sleeve right now, but this is the artwork. Some of you may recognize this. This is their third album. I'm going to mess up the pronunciation. It's Ostre. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but it's in this. I don't know what you would call this, plastic of some sort. Like it's just artwork printed on plastic. Now this was originally a two LP set, um, but they only had the first LP, which it's good. If I'm going to lose an LP, I wanted to lose the second one. The very first song in the Shout the Storm, I wanted to hear it. That is an original press. That one was later reissued by Vinyl on Demand, but this is the original. I think it's the second press. Yeah, it's a second pressing, but everything is the same except for my understanding is Shout the Storm was edited on this version. It was like it was a shorter version. Um, so yeah, that is all the Zoviet Franz. So I only in my collection previous to this, I only had some of the later albums. Um, and so there's still one later album I really want, which is it's called the Decriminalization of Country Music. That's the first Oviet Franz album I ever heard. I have it on CD, but I want the vinyl. So if I can, the vinyl was only it was CD only initially. Vinyl on Demand reissued it. I didn't know this is before I was aware of what Vinyl on Demand was. So if I can find the vinyl, I would like it. But anyway, other than that, I just had a couple later things. So this is the very first time I've owned any of the early Zoviet Franz. Now, quickly, I want to talk about this because when I was talking to the seller, he's kind of a guy around my age, and I was just like, where'd this stuff come from? Like, you don't, and I said, I've only known one place to ever sell it, which was a place when I lived in Dallas called, and then before I could even get the words out, he said Forbidden Books, and I said, yes, Forbidden Books, so you know it. Turns out he knows the owner. The owner's still living up in Dallas, has a different store now, but he knows the owner of Forbidden Books, and he was telling me that these records were a friend of his that recently passed away, and so he was sort of tasked with selling this stuff. So none of that surprises me, right? It means that we probably had some mutual friends, or at least we may have crossed paths back in the day in Dallas, and unfortunately he passed away, and he had these records. So he also in the collection. There was a couple of things I may have bought from him. I'll show him here in a second, but he had a bunch of like a Nurse with Wound. He had a lot of Severed Heads. And then he had some like non-industrial stuff, and he had a few smattering of industrial stuff. One thing, this is here's one of the things that he had that I bought: Severed Heads, Clifford Darling, Please Don't Live in the Past. This is the OG. I have the reissue that they did of this, but it's cool to have the UK first press. I have the reissue that Dark Entries did. Anyway, this is Severed Heads album from 1985. It's a double LP, some early stuff, and I really like it, so I'm happy to have it. I got that from the same seller. I could have bought a bunch of of the Severed Heads that he had. So a couple of them were reissues, and so yeah, I just didn't. I didn't get it from him. But anyway, we had a really nice conversation, and yeah. So I also got this. This is the Spoon. Sorry, let me show it over here. The Spoon Breakfast EP from Pigface. This was their I think first or second EP or first or second EP. It was stuff off their Gub album. If you don't know Pigface, it was started by Martin Atkins. It's kind of a, you know, it's Martin Atkins and friends. Thus, people call it a super group or whatever. But it's just all those artists from back then. Um, you'll see here, Ogre from Skinny Puppy did vocals on this track. You see Chris Connolly, Bill Riflin. I'm probably mispronouncing his name. He's playing drums here. Um, so it's just a like here's Inish from Canathium. Some all the regular people, but this is like the remix EP from the Gub sessions, and I had never actually had this, so I wanted to check it out. This one I'll show in a pair. Hold on, let me find the other one. Where's the other one? Oh, I'll show this one real quick. Here's a Nurse with Wound that I bought. This is the only Nurse with Wound that I bought. I showed this on the stream the other day. This is called Spiral and Santa. It's their 1986 album, but this is the reissue on Roto Relief, the limited and numbered, right there. I didn't actually. I wanted to hear this. I've owned a bunch of Nurse with Wound in the past, and I've sold it. I hadn't heard this album, so I wanted to check it out. Here we go. So I got this Mortal Coil. It'll End in Tears, and this Mortal Coil, Filigree and Shadow. I don't know if this one made the list. So yeah, I got these. These are both UK first pressings on 4AD. Super, super clean. A lot of times there's a little bit of ring wear because it's white artwork on here, but it's cool to have these. I may end up selling them. I just want to live with them for a little bit. I don't know if I need to live with them forever. Let's see what else I got here. Here I got the Colt Love. This was the U.S. first press on Sire. It came out in 1985. Here's In the Nursery Coda. Funny enough, I didn't have this one. I have so many In the Nursery albums. This is their what's my notes about a lot of shit. Okay, this is the U.S. first press on Wax Trax from 1988. Yeah, I didn't have this one. The seller that had this had a bunch of In the Nursery, and in hindsight, I wish I would have bought a couple of the other ones that they had, but I didn't. Here's a Pan Cow. This isn't the Pan Cow album that I saw that I talked about earlier. This is one I saw at a different seller. This is the 1989 album. Also, U.S. first press on Wax Trax. It's kind of an industrial band. I didn't have this album, and the fact that it's on Wax Trax. I don't really collect Wax Trax, but every once in a while, I'll buy some stuff. I got both of these. Believe it or not, I did not have this. This is the It album, Alien Sex Fiend. This was their 1986 album. This is the UK pressing, but it doesn't have the poster. Originally, it came with a fold out poster. The poster is not there. The record is super clean. And this is Another Planet. This is their 1988 album, and this is a U.S. first press on Caroline. But I do love Alien Sex Fiend. I don't know where I'm at as far as collecting all of them, but I have a ton of them. I got this. Let me show it over here. This is a band. I didn't know this band initially. It looked like the artwork looked like, okay, this would be something I'd probably like. There's a little piece of tape up here where someone had written a description, and the description says Joy Division, but more upbeat. And I was like, okay, like I'll take a shot at it. I would. That's not how I would describe it. It wasn't very upbeat. Um, so I don't think this is not a good description for it. But the band is called The Arms of Someone New. The album is called Promise. It came out in 1998. This band would later on release some stuff on Project. So it's it- the whole album doesn't sound the same. They have some ethereal stuff. They have some stuff you might call post punk. He has some stuff that's called synth pop, but it's very subdued. It's very I mean, I like it. I don't know if it's something I'm going to listen to a ton, but I have already played this all the way through on both sides, and I like it. But it's not some. I don't know if I'd recommend it. Yeah, I'd be just because I don't know. You probably wouldn't dig it. But I don't know. I got this. I did not have this. This is SPK's last album. It's a live album. It was recorded on their 1986 tour or 1987. Is recorded on their 1987 tour. It's a UK press. It's live SPK. I just want to hear. I wanted to listen to it. It's not on streaming, so let it. I got this. I've had this in the past. This is the Parallax View 12-inch from a split second. It's got 6 remixes of Parallax View. One second. Let's sneeze. Sorry. This one's main. I'm going to show them some mainstream stuff that I got later. On the last day, this was I got this for 50% off. It's his Camouflage's Method of Silence album. This is the album that came out after Voices and Images. The hit song was Love is a Shield, but it's a great album. You rarely see this. It's super, super clean. It's also a gold stand promo. Not that that means anything to me. It doesn't, but it's just super clean. Which I don't know. I see a lot of beat up stuff. Communards. This is like a synth pop, like a. They're not nearly as like hard as the name sounds. It's just like a pop band. This sticker made me laugh. It says much more involved with jazz and soul than Bronski Beat. Good Billie Holiday cover and some real and some word that I don't know what it is. But I'm like, what do you mean more involved in jazz? Anyway, that's not how I describe it. But I just wanted to hear this again. It's also a gold stand promo. I can always resell these if I am getting turned out not into it. Now this was another album that I did not know. The band is called Trial. The album is called Moments of Collapse. I think initially I just saw the artwork and I'm like, okay, I want to listen to this. I want to check it out. It wasn't super expensive. Um, was there anything on the back that made me? It just looked like something I would like. Like it's either industrial or it's post punk or something like that. I just kind of want to check it out. When I came home, the I got this like on the first day of the convention. I think when I came home, I was looking up in Discogs and stuff like that, and I realized I have their first 7-inch that I've had, for forever, and I totally have forgotten about it. This is all they released was the a 7-inch before this, and then this album a few years later. Um, so that's like a weird coincidence or whatever. But I already listened to this, and it's another thing I like. It's like dark. It's like a little industrialish, a little post punk, somewhere in that on that spectrum. I got this is a reissue, but it's the third and final report, a Throbbing Gristle. I didn't have this. I didn't have an original or a reissue. I probably had a CD forever ago, but I wanted it, so I got it. I saw this. It was a super good price. So Tangerine Dream, Phaedra. I think I got it for like $5 or something. Super clean too. It's a beautiful. I got a couple 12-inches. So here's the Vince Clark remix of Row for Luck, Happy Mondays. I hadn't seen this 12-inch. I've seen the 7-inch, which I probably have. But I saw the 12-inch and I'm like, yep, I want it. I think it was super cheap too. I got like I said, a couple 12 inches. This is very cool. I know most of you probably won't have any idea what this is, but that's you know, that's just the way it goes. Um, this is Liebach. The song is God is God, and this is the optical vocal mix. So, optical, if you don't know, is a drum and bass producer. Later on, would become much more well known with Ed and optical, or Ed Rush and optical. Um, early on, this came out in 80 or no 90 95 or 96, something like that. And this is before he got big, but early on he would do these like crazy remixes. So these are like drum and bass, or I don't know if maybe broke, I don't know how to describe it, but it's a producer in his take on on Liebach. So it's like this dark industrial weirdness with anyway, this is very cool. Um, you don't really see these. I remember this from a long time ago, me listening to it probably in the early 2000s, and I saw it and it was super cheap. I also got this, which is I'm not going to be able to pronounce it. A chupa, anyway, it doesn't really matter. This is New Tone, which is Daniel Gresham, I think is his last name. He's the brother of Logistics, my favorite drum and bass producer. He produces under the name New Tone. This is his very it's either um first or second single he ever any kind of music he had put out, and he later on would release everything on Hospital, but this is on a label called Chihuahua. Anyway, I saw this. It was super cheap, so I was like, "Yes, please." I'll show this in a trio. There was one album that I thought would be obtainable that I also wanted, and I asked all my friends to look for me. And I have a funny story about this. I'm thumbing through this guy's bin, and we were going. I was on the far right and working left, and Johnny and Stevie and Johnny Fever were on the left or around looking in other boxes. I think, were on the left and working towards me. They had both gone through this box already, and they had moved on. And I started going through this box, and I hit this album. This is Queen Elvis by Robin Hitchcock and the Egyptians. You can say whatever you want in the comments. I don't care. But this is the album, the one album that I thought was obtainable and that I wanted to get at the convention this year. And I told Stevie and told Johnny, I told everybody, hey, if you're out looking and you run across this and you see it, let me know. They had both gone through the box, went past this record, didn't occur to them to tell me, and then I see it. So we had a little moment where we're laughing and teasing each other about it. But this is Queen Elvis. This is, I think they're how many albums is this? Let's see if I wrote it down because I don't remember. I didn't write it down, but it came out in '89. And then, but before I found this, I found this, which is Globe of Frogs. This was a 1998 album that came out right before Queen Elvis, and then right before that, this is Element of Light. And these are all U.S. first presses. But I was very happy to find these because I'm not like a long time Robin Hitchcock fan, but I've become a fan. And I wanted Queen Elvis. I'd already listened to it digitally, but it's I don't know, it's what I wanted. Now I'm going to show this. I found this right here. This is called Terminus. This is an early Photek single. Came out. Did I write down? Yeah, it came out in 2000. So I just want to talk a little bit about this. So Photek is kind of known in the drum and bass community as a drum and bass producer, but he didn't always just produce drum and bass. He would produce all kinds of weird, like experimental, some stuff. Some, I called it broken beat. I don't know what other people call it, but one of the messages that I would like to express, it's an obvious one. And I'm not the only one, but if you're like really into industrial music, especially like old school industrial music, and you kind of got bored with where things went, or you're just bored in general, and you want to check out something new that'll give you that same feeling that the first time you listened to Skinny Puppy gave you, listen to stuff like Photek. So this is a 3-track single. It's got Terminus on and DNA on one side and Infinity on the other side. You have multiple different styles here, all which will totally um, touch a nerve with fans of industrial music. Terminus is basically like kind of like what I would call broken beat. I don't really know like what the official genre name is for it, but it's a very not glitchy. I don't know if you're like into How Job or any kind of industrial music, you would love that song. DNA is more of a down tempo. It's a downbeat or whatever you want to call it kind of song, and then Infinity is like a proper like drum and bass song, right? Like a but in his own little kind of atmospheric kind of whatever way. Anyway, I love Photek, and this is a really good representation of like some of the different styles that Photek would do. But like to me, like the next logical step at your when you're listening to industrial is to get into drum and bass and some of the and not just drum and bass, but like the more interesting elements of other styles of electronic music that were being made that was very much inspired by and even if it's just spiritually like inspired by industrial music. Anyway, I was very happy to find this. Um, yeah. Um, I'm pretty passionate about drum and bass. Anyway, I found this. You see this a lot. This is the Disc Corrosion 12-inch from Sisters of Mercy. Um, I got this mainly because it was a really good price. I do like this 12-inch. I don't have it. It's usually priced just too high. But this seller had it at a reasonable price. So yeah, I picked it up. Now this was really cool. There was a one seller there. He had this Japanese press. It's called Scoundrel Club from Aha. It's like an EP. Just got a couple tracks on it, but it's Japanese only, of course. Super good price. It has the extended remix of Manhattan Skyline as well as Hunting High and Low and Cry Wolf. So I don't know. I just think it's cool. I love Aha. Scoundrel Days is my favorite era, and it's just kind of cool that he had that. That was kind of cool. I got this. I didn't have this. I didn't have this. This particular 12 inches Sweet Sweet Pie Popolite itself. Um, this artwork is just very cool. I love this artwork. I did not have this 12-inch from Popolite itself. So um, now you guys know that I'm a fan. Sarah McLaughlin. I got two things. Right here is a sealed. Not that that matters. I just got it sealed because it's in super good condition. This is a Canadian First on Network pressing of Touch, which I have a copy of this, but my copy is completely beat up. It'll be nice to have a nice, clean, pristine copy. And then this is the later press. This is the U.S. press where they changed the artwork. And while this is not sealed, it is first press, and it is super clean. They still had the shrink on, but it's sliced open on the side. And since I'm over here showing Sarah, I might as well show Tori. This is a German first press. This is obviously, this is Tori's 1992 album. Super, super clean. I mean, the artwork is like no dents. Like in a million years, I'd say this was a reissue, except for the reissues, they put big, thick sleeve. This one's thinner, like what you would expect to see back in the 90s. But yeah, this is the German press. It's very cool, though. I'll show this, the one and only Frontline Assembly. This is Gas Senses and Crossfire. This is the OG on Wax Tracks. And it was still in shrink with the original price of $8.98. So it's super clean. It's got a little wear up here in this corner, but not too bad. But this is Frontline Gas Senses. I got this. I'll probably I definitely will resell this. It's Grinding into Emptiness Noise Unit. It's a side project of the Frontline Assembly guys. It does have the hype sticker. Show the hype sticker there real quick. I already have a copy of this. I just got this because it was a good price. And I mean, I liberate these from some sellers, so I could be the one to sell it. This is a great industrial album. If you don't know it, this is pretty cool. I don't see these super often. Called This is the full length Hilt albums, their second album on Network. You always see the 12 inches for Stone Man, but you don't see the full album. And this is the full album. It is a radio promo from 89.9 KUNM on Network, right? Yeah, Network has to be. Anyway, I saw this, had to liberate it. Touch and Go is celebrating an anniversary this year. I saw, got this by Racer X, Big Black, the Touch and Go press. I am a Big Black fan from back in the day. I saw that, had to jump on it. I got this. This is Mick Harris. This is, I think, came out in not that long ago, maybe last year. Covert Dub Sessions 4. I didn't have this. Somebody had it. Super good price. That's the price. It's basically just a new album. It's used, but it's a recent album, and it's and I didn't have it, so. I don't even say their name. Jose pronounced it really good. New Boughton. That's how I pronounce it. Yeah, this is their second album, third album. I forget. I have a note here. Let me look at my note. It's a U.S. first press on PVC, the label, and it's Drawings of OT, their 1984 album. Yeah, I don't have this one, so grab it. And this one I took a chance on. I did not know what this was. It says 1919 up at the top, and it says Machine down at the bottom. It just looks like something that I would like. This is the back. That is not the price, but that, because it's in a different sleeve, but this is the back. It just looked like music that I would like, so I brought it home, and I already listened to it, and I do like it. It's like, I don't know, I listened to it. I need to listen to it again. Anyway, I shouldn't have said that. Anyway, this is a UK first press on Red Rhino, same label as Soviet, and this is Frère Doot Doot. This is the full album, not the single. I know a lot of people have the 12-inch. This is the full album. I just saw this. It was a good price. It is a gold stamp promo. Not that that means anything. Now for a couple of mainstream things, I got this Naked Eyes. This is their whatever. This is the album after the album with all the hits on it. But I don't remember ever hearing this. And I'm actually, I like synth pop. I love Naked Eyes. I don't think I'd ever actually listened to this album, so I wanted to. And then last but not least, Vagabond Heart, Rod Stewart. This is kind of, it was definitely the first Rod Stewart album I heard when I was a kid. I saw the Broken Arrow video on MTV. And I've always loved this album. And so when I saw it, it's a UK first press. It has the printed inner sleeve. And, this is the first one I heard when I was a kid. It's always the one that I liked. I'll be honest with you. I don't think I've ever listened to any other Rod Stewart album from start to finish. So, this has Rhythm of My Heart, Broken Arrow, It Takes Two, the Motown song. I know people think that's cheesy. I like that song. Have I Told You Lately, Moment of Glory, Downtown Train. To me, this just reminds me of being a kid, And then I got a couple CDs. Do I have them with me? I don't know. Oh, I should show them because they're cool. Let me move this mess. I got the Legendary Pink Box. This is Legendary Pink Dots album. It's 2 CDs here, 1 and 2. So this is cool. This is there were 2 original presses. I think this is the Um, I think I what did I write down? I looked all this stuff up. I don't know if I wrote it down now. I didn't. I think it's one of the first two. Um, Belgian really. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Um, I got this. A seller had this. This was South by Southwest Live Volume One. Came out in '93, the first year of South by. So early on, South by Southwest had a label called, I don't know if it's on this thing, but it's called like South by Southwest Records or something like that. Is it South by 001? I think this may be the label. So it says S South by 0001. Anyway, I love South by Southwest. I collect stuff from them. Um, so I did. And this right here, this was, I think, Belgian. Ignore that price sticker. I did not pay that much. This is the Bites and Remission combo. There's nothing different about it. It's just in Belgium they did this thing where they put the two on one disc with this artwork. Someone had it, so I picked it up. There was a seller there selling bootlegs or whatever you want to call them, like live, unofficial live, whatever. This was the Mission, as some of you know, the Mission or the Mission UK. I think this was 19. Was there a year on here? I think there was somewhere. Can't really. The artwork is, I can't see. I think 1990. This is a show from 1990. So I just wanted to hear it. I haven't listened to it yet. I also got this. This is one of the things I just liberated from somebody. It's an OG Populated Self. This is the day. I'm gonna probably resell this. I have at least one copy of this, if not multiple. Yeah, and I also got my Sarah CD back from Jason. So yeah, that is everything that I got. Well, actually, that's not everything. One last story. Mr. Bongo, the label, had a table there. They were selling some stuff. They also had like new things from their label, and I bought a box of stuff from Mr. Bongo. That will all get put onto our website here in the next week or so, and then you can have some Mr. Bongo in your life. It's a bunch. I got a bunch of Brazilian artists. There's some Japanese artists, some Japanese releases in there, some Brazilian, and I forget what else I got. I got a lot of stuff. I got a little smattering of everything. We have some reggae and dub in there. Yeah, it'll be good. Anyway, I know this is a little rambly. Sorry. I wanted to before the Spurs game, I wanted to show you guys what stuff that I got. Oh, I also got this. The Rabbit in the Moon. This one, the record's a little damaged, but it plays good enough. It's the Rabbit in the Moon mixes. I think it's like a UK press or something. It doesn't really matter. It's got the Luna Soul remix of Fear. I already have that on another release, but it's cool. It's so amazing. I'll take it in any way, in every way. I also bought this just because. Come on, dude. Wayne Kramer, his brother Wayne. I just see this and I got it. So, yep. Peace out, guys. Let me know what you got in the convention down below in the comments, and let me know if you want to see anything in more detail. I'll show it. Peace out.